Throughout the scriptures, we see God make several promises to his people, beautiful things and events that he has put in place for those that are his children and have been called according to his purpose. They are not merely there to fill up the scriptures. They are real promises that will come to pass in your life as long as you are under the umbrella of God. They are promises of abundant life filled with joy, hope, peace, wealth, the presence of God, and every good thing you could ever wish for. There is nothing you are searching for that cannot be found in God. And one thing is sure, God is faithful and would not go back on his word. If he has said it, then he will bring it to pass and ensure that his promises come to pass in your life. The book of Isaiah says that the word of the Lord will not go to him void until it has fulfilled that which it was meant to. That includes every declaration and promises God has for your life. He's not a man that he should lie, or a son of a man that he should change his mind. That should bring some excitement to your heart. It means every one of the promises you see in the scriptures is meant for you, and you can live out those promises. If the Bible calls you blessed, then you are blessed. If it says the wealth of the Gentiles has been given into your hands, it means you cannot continue in poverty. The Bible has promised that none shall lack her mate, so you will get the right one for you. God has promised you multiplication in every area of your life, so expect those miracles. The blessings of the Lord are upon you and all that concerns you. It will be evident in the morning, noon, or night. Whether in the city or the country, God's blessings will be with you. Your location or current circumstances will not stop God from fulfilling his promises concerning your life. They are your portion, and you will see them being manifested. One of the things God doesn't joke with is his word. He has said that he will honor his word more than his name, and the Bible admonishes us severely to be careful with the words of our mouth. That is, you should not say a word when you do not mean it, and avoid making rash vows out of emotions or based on the feelings of the moment. In essence, before God gave those promises, two things are involved. First is that he has the ability and capacity to provide every one of those things that he has promised you. And that's right. If he created the heavens and the earth and everything within it, what could be hard for him to do? What situation is it that he cannot solve or give an answer to? What predicament would be hard for him to change? What promise is there in the scriptures that you think would be hard for God to fulfill? Another thing is that he is not just capable of fulfilling these promises. He will also ensure that those promises come to be. It is one thing to make a promise, another thing to have the capacity to fulfill that promise, and then another thing entirely to fulfill it. God does not fall short in any of these things. He has promised to be with you in trouble, so you can always count on his presence no matter what or where you find yourself in. He has promised to bless you and make you the head, so you can be sure that you will excel wherever you happen to find yourself. When you feel you have reached a dead end, God will make a way for you. He will fight your enemies and put them to flight. God has promised you that you will be triumphant, and that's what will happen. However, you must learn to wait for the promise of God. Don't become impatient and go looking for shortcuts. Those will only lead to pain and regrets later. Remember that it is the blessings of God that make you rich and adds no sorrow to it. If you want to experience peace and enjoy the blessings in your life, then you need to exercise patience. The promise is for an appointed time, and though it looks far away, it will come to pass. 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9 tells us that God is slow concerning his promises, as man count tardiness, but is long-suffering towards us. Don't let people pressure you unnecessarily into searching for what is not lost. You should have this confidence in God that as long as he has spoken it in his word, you would see it happen in your life. Just take a look at your life up till this moment and count the numerous blessings that God has given you, the various promises that he has fulfilled in your life. They are there every day, around you, and happening within you. You should be grateful for all those things, and that should even strengthen your faith that God will fulfill the rest of His promises concerning your life. He won't stop halfway. He will complete every good thing that He has started in your life, as long as He is still keeping you alive, waking you up to see the light of every new day, fighting your battles for you, protecting you, and keeping you in health. What other promises do you think would be hard for Him to fulfill in your life? The problem with us many times is that we focus on the things we want and have not gotten. We are like children, always asking for more and wanting our demands to be met immediately, but it doesn't work that way. The fact that He has promised does not mean you will see everything immediately. God works with time, and He has everything set according to plan. When the time comes for you to be blessed and receive the promise, nothing will be able to stop you or hold you down. Take a look at the life of Abraham, the patriarch of the old. God called him out and gave him some instructions promising to bless him. And did God fulfill all His promises in the life of Abraham? Yes, He did. He was wealthy, influential, and one of the greatest men on earth at that time. Or how do you describe a single man who had enough servants to go to war against the kings of 4 different nations? Yes, that's just how blessed Abraham was. He had cattle, oxen, lands, servants, and maidservants, everything a man could wish for. At a point, it seemed the only thing left was a son that he could call his, someone he could leave his inheritance to. And God gave him a child even in his old age. God will always do His part of the bargain as long as you remain faithful and obedient to His word. It may take a while according to the standards of man, but God's promises will always come to pass. As sure as the earth seems, it is nothing compared to the assurance we have in God's word and promises. Even if heaven and the earth pass away, not a single one of His words will fail. That's your security and the hope you have that you will receive every good thing that He promised you in this lifetime. Yet, you have a part to play if you will see God's promises in your life. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses 1 to 2 says that if you will hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord and do all that He commands you, then these blessings shall be upon you and overtake you. Then, the following verse goes on to list those promises. That's to tell us that these promises are not automatic. They are attached to a condition, one that is not too difficult to do. Just do as God commands you. Be obedient to His will, serving Him diligently, and He will reward your labor and sacrifices, blessing the works of your hand and everything you do. If you feel as though you are not seeing those promises come to pass in your life, just go before God in prayer, reminding Him of His words. Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 says, "You should not be anxious about anything, but in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, you make your request known to God." That means you should not forget to thank God for those things He has done in the past, and trust Him for those you are yet to see. You will be surprised at the avalanche of blessings that will be sent down your way. Like the psalmist said in Psalm chapter 23 verse 6, "The mercies and goodness of God will follow you all the days of your life, and you will dwell in the presence of God continually." You will be blessed in whatever you do, and God's favor will locate you. Every single promise that you have been expecting will be fulfilled. You will have your children, get that promotion you have been longing for, see each of your needs met, and become an attraction for God's signs and wonders. You will not only be blessed, but also become a blessing to many around you. God's promises will come after you and even overtake you. Be prepared to be overwhelmed by what God will do in your life.